Hey everyone. So Andrew Scheer, the leader of the Federal Conservative Party, has finally shown his true stripes, his true colors. And I don't know, at this point, like I say, the conservatives and the libtards, to me, it's like two wings of the same bird. And don't even think for 1 minute that I'm even remotely suggesting that the NDP is a possible or alternative place to put your faith in as far as political parties, because hell no, even worse. The reason why I don't bring in the NDP into it is because, yeah, those people should never have any pretense or position of authority at any point in time, because they're basically socialists, okay? Now, the liberals and the conservatives, they're basically collectivists, more fascists in their style, in their political approach, but they're much more closely in line than these end dippers. But once again, I reject them all. Because, I mean, well, that's another area, too, is party politics is all top-down authoritarianism where everybody has to fall in line and get in line. You know, the whip comes down upon any party dissenters, as we see time and time again. And now we're seeing, even within the Conservative Party, and it's like, really? Do you fucking, that's the thing, like Scheer and you, like Andrew Scheer and these fucking idiots in the Conservative Party, the Federal Conservative Party, you do realize that you just barely squeaked out a win by these fucking crony corporatist dipshits or these fake conservatives that gave you a very, very, very tiny lead that you finally beat Maxime Bernier. So it shows you that there's a huge percentage of people that support the Conservative Party of Canada that were all about libertarianism. It was so close, and Maxime was winning all the way up to the very last ballot. The very last vote tabulation was counted. And then all of a sudden, Scheer all of a sudden overcome and became the leader. But knowing that they have such a base of support that actually promotes and espouses the kind of libertarian values and principles that Maxime Bernier espouses and has espoused in the past, to me it's like, what the hell are you fucking doing, Scheer? I mean, I was already not a fan of you in any way, shape, or form because I recognized you just even by looking at you, listen to the way you speak, your positions you take, your supposed principles. So I had no faith in you. I had no respect for you already. But to see you throw Maxime Bernier, the one person in your party that I do have respect for, and a lot of Canadians that care about individual freedoms, individual liberty, personal responsibility, and getting rid of this crony corporate bullshit and having an actual opposing political position other than the established parties like the Liberals and the NDippers. Everyone's hoping that we at least have something, somewhere to throw our support behind. That's why people were like, well, let's go the Conservative route. Well, how's that working out? I've said it. That's why I don't vote, folks, because like I say, these political parties, it's just tribalism, man. It's just picking winners or losers. They're not principled in any way as far as doing the things that are proper, that are moral, or that are just economically and socially. They just want to pit themselves into a particular group and rail against their political opponents and hope that you'll pick one of them, and they're like, hey, we'll win this time. Maybe not, but hey, if our opposing team wins, let's say like the Liberals, well, don't worry, the Canadians will eventually get sick of their authoritarianism and they'll turn to us instead. So once again, they're literally not trying anything to give us any break or any reprieve from authoritarianism. They're just saying, hey, let's just do a different form of authoritarianism, and trust me, they'll get sick of the Liberal style of authoritarianism and they'll come run to us. Canada. The Libertarian Party of Canada, listen, I hate to say it, and I'm not a fan of political parties at all, but I'm telling you, if you want to send a true message to the ruling class, the establishment in this country, don't support any of these establishment parties. And I recognize that, you could potentially throw away your vote and the Liberals might get another term in 2019. Trust me, I'm not a fucking fan of that shit. But if you keep supporting these people, like if the Conservatives know that, they can just sit back, rest on their laurels and wait for you to come to them because they realize that, hey, they'll realize that they don't want the Trudeau, so they'll come to us. We'll just wait for them to come here. They're not going to try to better themselves. So, hey, maybe Canada, I'm not saying you should do this, like I say. When it comes to politics, like I say, I don't believe in picking masters or rulers. But hey, even if you got to fucking goddamn well plug your nose or just abstain completely and let this piece of shit Trudeau have another term. And like I say, not like I'm fucking pretending. Let me tell you, let me stress this one more time. I don't want this piece of shit Trudeau to be in any position of pretense of authority over anybody. Because like, hell no. Hell fucking no. But if I was a voting person, I couldn't support Scheer doing what he's doing now. I just couldn't do it. I care about liberty so much, and I'm so principled in my position, and I can be pragmatic in some areas, in some regards, but when I think about it, are you really going to get anything better? I don't think you're going to get a whole lot better. You'll get a couple political talking points. There might be some small areas where you might benefit, but trust me, not enough that you should give these fuckers any sense of legitimacy. You should make them fucking sweat. You should make them fucking suffer. Matter of fact, I hope the liberals double down on what they're doing to the people in the Conservative Party so that they suffer even worse. Maybe the people in the Conservative Party will finally at some point in time realize that, hey, we got to smarten our shit up. We got to do something different. I don't know. Anyways, this is just one headline. I'm going to be covering a few of them here in this particular video. This one's out of CBC News. It's an opinion piece by Robin Urbeck. Once in a while, she does some pretty good shit here, and this is one point that she's making in this opinion piece that I happen to agree with. What's the point in having MPs if all they can do is toe the party line? Robin Urbeck. Maxime Bernier was booted from the Conservative front bench for expressing mild dissent. Right on, I agree with you there, Robin. Yeah, like what the fuck is the point in having all these, everybody got to go out and vote for the particular MP in their riding? Why? What does it matter if all you have to do is look for what their master, their political master, their leader tells them, and you realize that they're just going to have to follow that party line, so it doesn't matter. They don't have any ability to be dissenting. So democracy? No, it's top-down authoritarianism. It's just that they get a whole lot of people that have to fall in line, right? Under democracy, you have a whole lot of people that have to fall in line. But doesn't that happen too under dictatorships and monarchies? Yeah, it does. So once again, I don't know. Whatever. Same shit, different pile. Anyways, like I said, I'm not going to read the article. I will post a link to it in the description of the video below so you can read it. But that's just one. Let's go on to the next one. The next article. Oh, it's another CBC article. Andrew Scheer removes Maxime Bernier from Tory front bench. I have removed Maxime Bernier from the official opposition shadow cabinet, effective immediately. Scheer. This is by Peter Zimonjic and Catherine Cullen of CBC News. Let's just read a little bit, see what they got to say here, huh? Former Conservative leadership contender Maxime Bernier has been removed from the party's front bench in the House of Commons. I have removed Maxime Bernier from the official opposition shadow cabinet effective immediately, Conservative leader Andrew Scheer said in a short statement issued by his office. The Shadow Minister for Science, Matt General, will assume the additional role of Shadow Ministers for Innovation, Science and Economic Development on an interim basis. A Conservative MP spoke to CBC News on the condition he not be identified and said Bernier was removed because of his decision last week to post a chapter from his book on his website. In the chapter, the MP said Scheer's victory as party leader was owed to fake Conservatives who only joined the party to defend supply management in the dairy industry. So, yeah, Maxime chose to speak a little truth to give the people some honesty, and he's getting thrown under the bus for doing so. What was more offensive than his attack on supply management was the attack on our supporters, quite frankly, calling them fake Conservatives or nefarious paper millionaires, the MP said. After Bernier released the chapter in April, several Conservatives questioned whether he was challenging Scheer's leadership. Bernier later decided to pull the book from circulation and took to Twitter to explain his decision. Anyways, I'll post a link to this article in the description of the video as well, but like I say, come on, folks. It's just top-down authoritarianism. It's party politics 101, which tells you that you don't democracy, even the pretense of democracy, which I deny wholly and outright, mob or majority rule. But even under this pretense, you're not even getting the mob or the majority that gets a say. Even within the party, the political party ranks, everyone's got to toe the line of their political master, just like you or I, right? Well, maybe you. Not necessarily I. I've gotten in trouble in my life for stepping outside the bounds of political orthodoxy from those on the left and the right. Because, yeah, I don't live by political edicts. I live as a moral, compassionate, and caring human being that respects and understands the fundamental rights and principles of what it is to be a compassionate, moral, law-abiding human being. I don't go by political decrees. I don't go by what authoritarians tell me and how I should live and how I should deal with people that I reside or cohabitate or coexist with. I just do it my own way. And you know what? It's worked out for the most part beneficially for all involved. I guess maybe that's why the government hates me, because I lead by example rather than going that authoritarianism route. And they like the authoritarianism route, so they don't like to see people like me that do it in a manner that's not befitting of using the pretense of authority, right? Or group or identity politics or collectivism. Anyways, like I say, that's just two. And I got one more, and this is the most important article that I really want to cover. And this is from a friend of mine, Frank Vaughan, frankvaughan.ca. I recommend that you go and visit this man's site and look through his YouTube channel, which I will post a link to in the description of this video as well, because he's another fellow Canadian liberty lover that's standing up and speaking out about individual rights and freedom, not just social, but economic as well. Andrew Scheer's Purge, Just the Facts, by FPV, June 14th, 2018. This week, Maxime Bernier was purged from Andrew Scheer's shadow cabinet for, according to Scheer, publishing parts of a book that Bernier had agreed not to publish until after he retired. Scheer's other reason was that Max had been disloyal in the act of having his own opinions. Oh no, how dare someone have their own opinions in Canada? You know you're not allowed that. Shame on you, Maxime. The best way to explain all of this is with a brief timeline. On or around April 10th, 2018, Bernier's publisher released a sample chapter free to the public to promote the book ahead of its release. That sample chapter, downloaded, linked, and shared countless times, inspired the very liberal media outlet Globe and Mail to write an article implying Bernier was challenging Scheer's leadership. And Frank posts a link to that article. So good for him for doing that. And like I say, you'll have this all at your disposal, folks, because I'll post a link to it all in the bottom of this video. Scheer then reacted to the article, went to Bernier and made him agree to not publish the book until after Maxime retired. I should not have to say how draconian such an edict is, especially for a leader who claims to stand for free speech and free expression. After all, this was the same Andrew Scheer who, on the 27th of April, slammed Justin Trudeau for censoring his own MPP in a similar way. Like I say, fucking hypocrites. Fucking politicians, man. That's why I can't stand them. That's why I don't support them. Yes, there are very few and rare exceptions to the rule, and Maxime is one of the very few that I did support, though I didn't go out and vote. Like I said, I don't choose masters or rulers, but I did support him vocally and in some of my past videos, just for the sheer fact that, yeah, if you want to play the lesser of evil games, then fucking Maxime was a whole lot the lesser of the evils. Matter of fact, I don't even think Maxime is per se evil. He just happens to think that he can affect real change in the political party, such as the Conservative Party of Canada. And yeah, before I read any more, yeah, Tim Owen was wise to reach out to you. Maxime, if you truly are that libertarian, you know, that you espouse in the kind of rhetoric and the kind of political positions and principles that you hold dear, yeah, get the fuck away from the Conservative Party of Canada, and you need to join the Libertarian Party of Canada. That's a place where you will be able to use that success, that initial success, and that popularity that you have gained, and bring that over and shed a little light on the party in Canada, that one party in Canada that truly does care about individual rights, freedoms, and liberties. You know, help the Libertarian Party out. You know, help the people that stand for the kind of principled positions that you hold dear. Join them. The liberal Globe and Mail, however, always looking for ways to sabotage the CBC, jumped into action and published an article saying Bernier was defying Scheer, spinning a narrative that Bernier had published something new, which, as noted, he had not. The Globe and Mail article basically concocted a story, crafting an inflammatory headline around what was nothing more than a link to something released months ago. It was an old story, a nothing burger, made to look like a banquet burger and fries. And Scheer again took the bait. He willingly jumped into action, dancing to the liberal press's tune, kicking Bernier out of his shadow cabinet at the behest of a fake news story written by the Globe Mail and alienating half of his base. The liberals themselves could not have done a better job at disrupting CBC harmony. You almost have to hand it to them. If they can goad Scheer to action so easily, why even invest in resources in fighting him themselves? If this is all it takes for Scheer to turn on half the party, what else can we anticipate him doing to satisfy the Liberal Party base in the future? How will he react to the next media hit piece on one of his prominent members? I have been informed by many that I am the bad guy for supporting the facts and free speech and pointing all this out. He kicks the base in the face at the behest of the LPC's media wing. Yet those like me who are critical are the traitors. To a funny place conservatism has gone in Canada. P.S. Those of you who keep making it about the leadership race and then getting triggered when I explain those facts as well, you are not listening. This is not about the leadership race. Andrew Scheer is the leader, full stop. But from siding with Trudeau on the Paris Accord in support of a carbon tax he claims to oppose, to kicking his members in the face, Chost, Bernier, etc., at the behest of liberal media. Remember him throwing Ezra Levant under the bus, anyone? He isn't doing the best of jobs. And good for you, Frank, for standing up and being principled and taking that principled position once again. That's why I like a man like Frank. He's willing, even though he's a supporter of the Conservative Party, and he was even a card-carrying member of the party. Once again, people that are pragmatic and principled in their positions are more than willing to turn their backs on their particular tribe or political party of choice when it's deemed necessary, when it's the moral and principled position to take. And Frank is showing once again that he's willing to do so and take the heat as a result. Good for you, Frank, and I stand in solidarity with you and supporting people like Maxime Bernier and telling Andrew Scheer that you better get the fuck on board with supporting what actual libertarians and genuine so-called conservatives represent, or just fucking, just join the Liberal Party and just amalgamate and combine together and just call yourselves the progressive liberals, right? Whatever the fuck you want to do. But stop pretending that you're an actual counter voice or an opposition party to the liberals when you're nothing of the sorts. You're just, like I say, the other wing of the same goddamn bird. We're on to you, folks, and we know what's going on. We're paying attention, and all this stuff's being recorded for future archives, for future reference. You're not going to be able to escape the shit that you're doing, Andrew Scheer, and you're not going to be able to escape being accountable at some point in time. It might not be now, it might not be in 2019, but it'll be at some point in time in the future. I guarantee it. It's Canadian Libertarian, and I love liberty.